Hello and welcome. For the Woodworker's News and Reviews, I'm Gord Graff. Cutting tenons, half-lap joinery, or bridle joints on the table saw using a shop-built tenoning jig is a very efficient and accurate way of cutting this type of joinery. There is, however, two very important safety concerns I'd like to bring to your attention when using a shop-built tenoning jig. My first concern has always been about guarding the blade when using this type of jig. We as woodworkers are, or should be, concerned with guarding a blade when we're doing ripping or cross-cutting or datoing or other operations on the table saw. Yet I rarely see woodworkers guard the blade when using a tenoning jig. It really doesn't take much effort or expense to place a measure of protection between the spinning table saw blade and me, the operator. An example is this type of shop-built guard, held in place by two MagJig 150s with their combined holding force of 300 pounds, coupled with the jig's quarter-inch thick polycarbonate shield. This guard provides me with a measure of protection that I'm comfortable with. For more on the construction of this guard, please refer to the accompanying article. The second concern I have is something that I see on a regular basis. Let me get this out of the way. And here's what I see. Setting up for a tenon cut or a half lap or bridle joint, material is clamped into the jig, the saw is turned on, and the cut is made. Now in theory, that's where it should end, right there. But it doesn't. I see numerous woodworkers do this. Pull the material that they've just cut backwards through a spinning blade, open up the clamps, reclamp the piece, and then go ahead and make the second cut. Pull it back through a spinning blade again, take that piece out, install another piece for another cut. Well, there's a number of things that I've always found wrong with that. Pulling material back through a spinning blade can be disastrous. If that material contacts that blade, I'm in big trouble. When you open this up, take this piece of material out. If that blade is spinning, if by chance you happen to contact that material with the blade, or if this material slips out of your hand and hits the blade, that spells disaster. When I cut tenons or half laps or bridle joints, here's what I do. I set my material into my jig. I take my guard and I place it in a position. I turn the saw on. I make my first cut. I hit the stop button on my saw. My saw blade takes 7 seconds. From the time that I hit the stop button until the time that it's fully stopped is 7 seconds of my life. Not an awful lot of time. I then go ahead, pull this back. Now the blade is stopped and the blade is guarded. I start the saw again, make my second cut. When I'm finished the cut, I turn the saw off, wait for the blade to stop, then I can take it back and put in another piece. Oddly enough, I know of two manufacturers of aftermarket tenoning jigs that put in their instructions this exact procedure. I'll admit that this method does take a little more time to do, but doing it this way, I'm less likely to get into harm's way. When I was younger, I was always taught no job has priority over safety, and that includes cutting tenons on the table saw. For the Woodworker's News and Reviews, I'm Gord Graff. Thanks for watching.